This script says at 6:45 I'm supposed to say, "What a wonderful meal." Well, that's easy to say. How about that again? Wasn't that great? It also says, please feel free to continue eating, but man, I can't eat another bite. At this time, I'd like to invite SWOSU President Dr. Diana Lovell to take the dais. Dr. Lovell.
Thank you, Garrett. So glad to see you all tonight. We've been standing on the hilltop since 1901. Firmly on the hilltop. You're supposed to answer that with me, yeah? Bulldogs? Now, where are you, Bulldogs? We've been standing firmly on the hilltop since 1901. Very glad you're here tonight. I have noticed that our inductees are rather successful. And their success was on our fields and in the fields of our opponents. And they went on for more education. Amongst us, we have a physician's assistant, a pharmacist, an anesthesiologist. And that's not just luck, is it? That's not so much, oh, that's just a coincidence, an accident. It has a lot to do with the dedication they put into sports teams and the coaches and the support they got from SWOSU Athletics. We are so proud of you. We're very excited to welcome our inductees here tonight. The SWOSU Athletic Hall of Fame recognizes the dedication of our most outstanding athletes, and I know we will all remember this evening. Thank you for being here, and go Dogs.
Okay, good evening, not afternoon, evening. My name is Todd Helton. I'm the athletic director here at Southwestern. Want to welcome you all to campus. Some of you, it's been a while since you've been back. Some of you are local, I understand that, but it's awesome to see a bunch of former Bulldogs in the same room, and we can't wait to get started tonight and honor this class of Hall of Fame inductees. So, the first inductee this evening is Meghan Browning Harms. Meghan has been a dedicated supporter of SWOSU Athletics. As an enthusiastic and effective fundraiser and friend raiser, Harms has played an instrumental role in supporting SWOSU Athletics and the softball team. She was an initial donor to the SWOSU Softball Endowment, providing ongoing support for scholarships, recruitment, and team needs. Harms has also guided additional philanthropic efforts as a board member of the SWOSU Athletic Association. Currently, she serves as a physician's assistant for SWOSU Sports Medicine, providing sideline medical services for the Bulldogs with Mercy Orthopedic Associates, where she holds a certificate of added qualification in orthopedics, the first female in the state of Oklahoma to achieve this distinction. Yeah, round of applause for that. Meghan was a 4-year letter winner for the SWOSU softball team, and from 2006 to 2009, she appeared in 86 games and was named a 2007 Lone Star Conference All-Academic honoree. She graduated with a degree in Allied Health Sciences in 2009 and later earned a master's degree in Physician Assistant Studies from Harding University. We won't hold that against her. Graduating magna cum laude in 2012. She is married to Landon Harms, a former SWOSU baseball player, and they have 2 children, Luke and Owen. Her contributions and commitment to SWOSU Athletics have earned her a place in the SWOSU Athletics Hall of Fame as a contributor. Here to introduce Meghan is Dr. Michael Keene.
Hello, my name is Michael Keene. I work very closely with Meghan Harms. Then that's the understatement, very closely. So, when she called me, it was an honor for me to introduce her for this. Secondly, I got a little excited because then I would get to talk without her responding to me, because that happens a lot. And you deal with doctors all the time, so we don't like to be talked to. We like to talk about stuff, so we don't want to be responded. We just listen. And then the third thing was, I was like, I got a little anxious because, I mean, I can't say the Thanksgiving prayer or raise my hand and say something in Sunday school without getting a little emotional. So, so I was a little nervous about that, but I'll be okay. I can do it. So, sorry, it went black. All right. And so Meghan and I have been working together for about 12 to 13 years. And when she came and joined us at Orthopedic Associates, I myself have a strong affinity for Southwestern. I didn't meet my wife here, but my wife and I started dating while she was going to school here, playing tennis with Coach Litch as her coach. Yes, let me repeat that. She was playing tennis for Southwestern as Coach Litch, with Coach Litch as her coach. She was a tennis coach. Yeah, and she's a basketball player, that's right. And I'm still a little upset, and I always tell this, and my wife gets mad at me, but I think she got robbed as the homecoming queen candidate for the BSU in 1996. I pushed for a recount. She wouldn't go with me, so we left it lie. And I apologize if the 96 queen's in here, but I'm a little biased. Meghan has several qualifications to make her a perfect recipient for this honor. The first couple would be tenacity and hard work. The first time I met Meghan, the guys over Regenerations, Jeff and David, were like, hey, we got this young lady, she'd be perfect, PA. And I was kind of starting to look for a PA because I was getting busier. And I was like, sure, send her over. So she sent her over. She'd come in the middle of the clinic. It was busy. I didn't have time to talk to her. I was like, well, let's meet outside. We can go play golf. I was playing golf at the time, or we can meet at dinner. We do something. Couldn't ever get together. Finally, I talked to her a little bit, and she wouldn't stop. She kept coming. And everybody's laughing because they know that's true. And so finally, I was like, okay, all right, you've talked me into it. You've worn me down. You've got the job. I was like, okay, so when can you start? She goes, well, I haven't started PA school yet. And I was thinking, because I had 3 little girls at home. My wife had kids. Of course, she had my 3 little girls. But I was going to have all this help, and I could get more free time. But no, it was probably 3 years away. And then at that time, they had to be under a physician for a year before they could do anything. So it was actually 4 years away. So that's a funny story that we always tell about ourselves when we first met, but I think it goes to, she wasn't giving up until she got what she wanted, and that's how she goes about her life. And those people, a year ago, I think it was about a year ago when you guys worked on the Southwestern field or so. People were volunteers. I think some of the voluntold people were right here at this table, and they were out there working on the field, getting it ready. They don't have any kids playing out there. They were out there. She had people rounded up, getting that softball field ready for those girls to play on. The other thing is another story that kind of points to her, the way she is, was not far after that. Well, yeah, it was 4 years after that it was 4 years after that. So she did a rotation with me / internship. And so at the end of that, so she did it was kind of get to know you, make sure we were compatible. And so we got to the end, and because it was a preceptorship, we had to give her a grade. Well, so I told her, I said, sorry. I said, well, grade yourself. And let's see how you do and see what you think. So she gave herself a grade. She rated all the different categories: professionalism, clinical skills, patient, all that stuff. We looked at it, went over it, signed it, sent it in. So it came back, and the preceptor sent it back to her, and she goes, I got a B. I was like, you got a B? It's like, yeah, it says I got a B. I was like, I don't know. I mean, we filled it out, and she had given herself a B. And I think because Magnum Cum Laude, I think that was the only B she got in PA school. It was, yeah, it was. And so, and that story is not really about her being bad at math, but which it probably is true, which is probably true. But it's more about her strive, her being self-aware, and not realizing at the time and realizing now that she's going up, and she wants to be better. She strives to be better at everything she does, no matter what it is. Faith, family, athletics, work, it doesn't matter. She's trying to be better, and she's always trying to get to the hilltop. And I'd be remiss without also congratulating Landon, because Landon's the same way. I call him the silent assassin. She comes in hot, he's silent. And he has all these same traits as well. And she wouldn't be here, they wouldn't be there if they weren't a team. So, and that's probably what I'm proud about the most. So congratulations, Meghan Harms.
Wasn't expecting that.
Thank you.
He had to wait 4 years because there was no one else lining up for that job. Oh. So, all right. Well, so I definitely feel like I have some imposter syndrome today. Did anyone look at my stats from college? Like, did we leave Garrett King in charge of that? Like, you know that SO is not swings out of the park, it's strikeouts. And I had like 50 of them. They were not home runs, Garrett, wherever you are. There you are, okay? So they were definitely mediocre at best. But in all seriousness, I'm very grateful to have been chosen to be a part of the Southwestern Hall of Fame. When you look at previous inductees, there are so many admirable people that are in this group. We have Mayor Mike Brown, Rex, and Rob Ryan. We have Johannes Brown, Kelly Litch. I mean, what a prestigious group to be a part of. So this week when I was writing the speech, I'm like, what? Where do I belong in this group? I'm not a leading scorer. I wasn't an MVP. I did not hold the home run record. And to be honest, and this will come back around, so stick with me, when I left my career at Southwestern, I hated softball. I just loathed it. I couldn't watch it on TV. I couldn't pick up a glove. I couldn't pick up a ball. I couldn't play. And to be truthful, I was angry. I was angry that I had been a bad investment for Coach Loy. And, sorry, Coach Loy, you thought you were getting Apple stock? You got Enron at its peak and it just crashed. Like, it was bad, you know? So, when I left, I really felt like I had let Coach Loy down, my team, my parents. All these people spent all this time investing in me for this goal that I had. I wanted to play college softball. And in my mind, it was a flop when I walked out of here. I was always hurt. I mean, always, in the most ridiculous ways. I got a triple one time in my college career, and let me tell you something. This is not built for speed, okay? So for me to get a triple, I have to hit it right on the foul line. It has to wedge into the fence. The right fielder has to trip 3 times, make a bad throw, and it's still going to be close, okay? And so I got my only triple, and I was pumped, and Coach Loy was standing on third over me, and I punched the bag, and what did I do, Coach Loy? I broke my hand, and I was out for 6 weeks. So, and as funny as it is, and we can laugh back on it now, it was just infuriating at times. And so when I left, I was mad at the game. I had spent most of my life playing this game, and I kind of felt robbed over that I never got to really showcase my true potential. So I walked out my senior year feeling defeated, trying to figure out who I was. I was now a regular person. I wasn't an athlete anymore. And I left Southwestern with an awesome degree, but I was disappointed, I was confused, and I had a lot of body aches, like a lot of them. And this was just not the ending that I had expected with my career. I went to PA school, and to be pretty honest, you guys would be surprised at this. I don't talk about this a lot, but I had a really hard time fitting in with what I call the normies, you know, the non-athletes. I was kind of rough and blunt and competitive, and everything was a game. And so I was alone a lot during that time in my life. But it was good for me. I needed to reflect. I needed to understand what I was good at again. And how am I going to use these gifts that were bestowed on me to make the world a better place? There was one thing that always popped into my mind. My dad always says, Megan, all I want from you guys, and there's 3 of us, and my sister can vouch for this, all I want from you guys is to be a productive member of society. That's it. That's it. And guys, he didn't tell me this when I was 20. I was 10. Like, I had to go find a dictionary to figure out what he was talking about, okay? So even though that part of my life during PA school I was very productive, it was definitely the loneliest in my life. My friends and my family, my fiance, they were 7 hours away from me. I was so thankful I was close to my grandparents, but if your best friends are two 85-year-olds when you're 25, you got some self-evaluating to do, okay? And if you know my grandparents, it's right, Dad? Yeah, But guess what? I started excelling. I found that I was great at rotations. I was getting rave reviews. I was thriving in environments where other people kind of tend to wilt. I was able to think on my feet under stressful situations with clear-headedness. I was outperforming first and second year residents and winning rights to kind of procedures in those moments during grand rounds. Patients would ask me, they would ask for me, they would say, we want the girl that listens but will actually do something about it. So I even had one point, I was excelling in the OR and I was suturing a lot. I had really good dexterity skills, and I had a doctor, his name was Dr. Siddiqui. I don't know if I've told Dr. Keene this story, but he was like, you need to come with me. I'm going to teach you how to suture. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So he pulled me aside in the room. He's like, listen, I can't sew to save my life. If you sew and I can claim it, I'll buy you pizza every time. Done. So Dr. Siddiqui and I ate a lot of pizza in the Pine Bluff ER in Arkansas. But you know, the one difference that I started to realize between all those other students I was with and me, I was the only student athlete that I came across the whole time. I was the only one that kind of had a small glimpse of what it was like to be under pressure and to come up clear-headed in intense moments. That's when I finally figured out my gifts was I was tough, I had blunt wit, I had grit, and all that was mixed with compassion for people. I really cared about people, and that softball career really helped me to get there. God has continued to bless me. I've married my wonderful husband. I'm blessed with 2 beautiful boys. I have a boss who understands family. He's allowed me to excel in my career, but be a mom and to be a wife. I've got to come back and stand on these sidelines with my kids as they tackle each other and do what I've always wanted to do and cover sports and care for people. But I've come back equipped with a completely different attitude than when I left. So back to the I hated softball bit. I don't hate it anymore. I actually love it again. I love going to the field and smelling the grass and playing catch with my kids. I love the sound of the bat when we go to the cages as a family. I love watching my boys succeed on the field. I love watching you fail too, because I know it's going to make you better. I had to go through the ugly to get through the pretty. Hard times are required for blessings. And every single blessing I have now in my life, my husband, my kids, my family, my job, my boss's family, and every dear friend I've made along the way, I would not have any of you if I had not made that choice to come here. One thing all these previous Hall of Fame inductees do have is their desire to give back to others and to invest. I can say in confidence that I make that a priority in my life now. You don't have to be a record holder to invest in others, and you don't have to be a record holder to be invested in. It took me a long time to understand that all these people invested in me, not because I was a good softball player, because they cared about me and they loved me. I think I turned out to be a pretty good investment, or as my dad would say, Katie, a productive member of society. Okay? Yeah. So, I have a lot of littles in the crowd today. I got Sage and Natalie, my niece is back there. There's just so many young girls in here, and I just want you to know that the people around you are investing in you, not because we think you're going to be professional soccer players or softball players or professional pianos, or Ellie, you may not be a professional dancer, but we're investing in you because we love you, and you all have special gifts and unique paths that are going to come along, okay? Let's see here. Oh, now for my boys. They've been waiting for this. And Luke and Owen, I'm investing in you because you're going to have to take care of me when I get old. Yeah. Where are you? Oh, where are you? So when I can't bend over and clip my toenails, you're going to have to do that for me. And I have 2 left-handed pitchers, so we're going to the MLB, and Mama's getting a nursing home house on the beach. Deal? Just kidding. But in all seriousness, I'm not investing in you guys because you're good at sports. I'm not investing in you because you're good at football. I'm investing in you because you have good hearts. You're going to do great things in this world. I don't know what they are yet, but I can't wait to watch. And I'll follow you in any direction that you want to go, as long as they lead you to be productive members of society. Yeah. I encourage all of us that have figured out our place in this world to invest in those that haven't, whether they're young or old or they're going through transitions. I will forever be grateful for the people who invested in me when I was lost and I was confused. I hope I've made you guys proud. I'm honored to be part of the Southwestern Hall of Fame. And this was not the ending I expected. It was better. Hey, Dad? Hey, this is my dad right here in the green shirt. I have a question for you. Did I become a productive member of society? Can we check it off the list? Go Dogs. Thank you guys.
All right, thank you, Megan. I knew you would not disappoint. So, okay, our next inductee this evening is Dr. Ida Hoffman Martin. Okay. Ida Martin was a 4-year standout for the SWOSU softball team from 2001 to 2004. During her career, there's a lot of stats here I'm gonna get to, but so bear with me. Martin earned numerous accolades, including the 2004 Lone Star North Co-Player of the Year and a 3-time First Team Lone Star North selection in 2001, 2002, and 2004. She also received second team honors in 2003. Academically, she earned Lone Star Conference All-Academic distinctions 3 times from 2002 to 2004 and was named an Academic All-District 6 second team selection by the College Sports Writers Information Directors of America as a senior. Martin was a 2-time SWOSU Softball Player of the Year in 2003 and 4 and set multiple records in the SWOSU softball record books. By the time her career concluded, she remains the all-time career leader in doubles, ranks second in hits, second in RBIs, and third in total bases. She set single-season program records for doubles in 2003 and triples in 2004 that held up for over a decade before finally being surpassed. During her time at SWOSU, Ida was part of 2 teams that qualified for the postseason. In high school, she's a 4-time state tournament qualifier, a state champion in 1997, earned Oklahoma softball All-State honors in '99, and graduated as valedictorian from Adair High School in 2000. Martin earned a doctorate of pharmacy from SWOSU in 2007 and has worked as a pharmacist near her home in Adair, Oklahoma ever since. She continues to support the SWOSU softball program through the SWOSU Softball Endowment, which was established in 2022. Martin becomes SWOSU's first softball player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for her athletic achievements. Here to introduce Ida is former SWOSU coach, Tammy Lloyd.
Every time. Never changes. First thing I'd like to say is I congratulate Shane and Megan for your honors. Megan, you've done so much to continue the growth of the Southwestern softball program, and thank you so much for that. You're well deserved. Ida was a part of my first recruiting class. I actually met Ida. She was class of 2000, And I was at the state tournament and at the all-state game, and a coach and I were talking, watching the game, and he was like, hey, have you seen that second baseman? I was like, yeah, she's pretty good. I was like, she wants to be a pharmacy. And I'm like, oh, I've got your place. And he was like, I'm going to introduce you. I was like, oh, that'd be great. So he introduces me to her parents and her after the game. I invited them to Southwestern to come out and visit. They came out to Weatherford. We didn't have a field. Her first 2 years, we didn't have a field. We were playing over at Raider Park. And somehow, by the luck of God, I was able to talk her into coming out here. And it was the best thing that I think happened to our softball program. I reached out to a couple of your teammates, a few of your teammates, and I got some quotes. I want to start with one. And this is going to tell you a little bit about Ida, and we'll expand from there. Courtney Hell was a fellow teammate and a 2000 recruit, and she described Ida this way: effort and dependable. By the way, I asked them for like one word to describe Ida, and I just got paragraphs. So I'm just going to read everything they sent. So they may seem fragmented, but it's not because they're not educated. It's because they had too much to say. So it says effort and dependable. I always knew she had my back and would give 100% to try to make it play. A true team player. This is such a true description of Ida. From her first practice, you could see her determination and her work ethic. We even had to change a few habits that we had along the way. Because back in the day, when there was a fly ball hit, every player would go, I got it, right? Well, we couldn't do that when Ida was on the field, because as soon as they said there she went. And so after she took out a pitcher, and then after she took out a third baseman, and finally when she took out a shortstop, I was like, okay, we have to change. We're not saying I got it anymore. It's now ball, ball, ball. And from that point forward, every team just remembers ball, ball, ball. And now you know why, because of Ida. So Sarah Hamilton described Ida as, she always gives 100%. She is passionate and fierce competitor. She makes everyone around her better, and she's not afraid to call you out. This is so true. Ida was such a competitor in all endeavors, on the field and in the classroom. As you heard, she was a 3-time All-Academic. Well, that is only because they did not allow freshmen to make the All-Academic team. That's the only reason why she wasn't on there 4 years. She also required everything that from all of us as well, including the coaches. She wanted to be challenged. She wanted to be pushed and to do her very best. And even when I had her do extra diving drills after practice one day, I know I wasn't her favorite person, but I would like to think that I had contributed to some of the successes you had. When they talked about her achievements that she's had, they talked about her RBIs, and it's unbelievable that it still stood up 20 years later. That's amazing. And even the triples, I want to take some credit for that, because I tried to bring her to third a lot, and she would like mow, and then you would get the look of like, if I got her thrown out over at third, like, Coach, why did you do that? You know I can't go that fast. But I thought she was faster than what she was, I guess. But she still holds a record in that, so you're welcome. Along with that, with the RBIs, she led her team her senior year with 31 RBIs. She also led her team, tied for it actually, her freshman year with Kelly, one of her good teammates as well. And then the other 2 years, she tied it with Lauren Brown, and then she was second with 24. I think Lauren had 25 that year. So always competing and always doing everything she could to make this team a success. The only reason why she did not make first team all conference her junior year was because we had a lot of injuries that year, and Shandy can probably attest to this, and we had to throw Ida on the mound a little bit. So a hidden skill you guys didn't know she had. Tricia Morris remembers Ida, and she was a 2000 and 2004 softball team member. And she remembers Ida this way. Ida showed up every day ready to work. On and off the field, she gave it her all. She balanced softball, pharmacy, school, and a social life. She showed all of us what a good work ethic was, and also was and still is a true friend. And everybody can pretty much attest to that. Ida and Kelly Fitzpatrick were in many of the same classes and we had many conversations trying to figure out their schedules, because we really had to work hard to, in a pharmacy degree and in Kelly's degree, of trying to maneuver, because some of the classes were only offered in the spring semester, in the fall semester, and they had to take a lot of classes during the summer. And was it a 4-hour lab or was it a 3-hour lab, which we had to look at for the pharmacy classes. So we had a lot of conversations from that. And we were talking earlier today that they would go to class, run to the field, play a double header, and Ida's like, Coach, I have a test, and I'm like, one more inning. And you know, if you know Ida, she was like, I got to go. And then they would run from the field to go and take their test. And even Kelly was saying nobody probably wanted to sit by him during that test, but that's just how they were. They were committed and dedicated in everything that they did. Kelly has a little statement about Ida, said, dependable. Ida was always ready to play and give her best effort. She was a great teammate that was completely selfless and loved by all. She was an even better friend and roommate. Ida is the perfect person to select for our first, I believe, softball inductee into the Hall of Fame. Well, actually, kind of two, you know. Get 2 for 1 this night. She's such a humble and kind individual whose perseverance and through all tough times is luckily dedicated and honored here tonight, well-deserved honor tonight. One of our last teammates, I wanted to end with this last teammate's description of Ida. They say, well, if it was Lent, you learned to tread lightly for a long 40 days. Ida always gave up pop, she always gave up chips, and man, does she need those things regularly. Ida was always ready to get the job done on the field, but somehow I managed to keep a smile pretty much regularly on her face during the time that they were together on the right side of the field. This is from Shanna, she played first base. Shanna also concluded with, I would not have wanted any other second baseman to be next to me. She is beyond deserving of this amazing honor. God puts people in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And we're all so blessed to have her in here for a lifetime. So congratulations, Ida. Such an amazing college career that's been honored tonight. So congratulations.
That's a really tough act to follow between Meghan and her. So, I will get started. Obviously, I was there for pharmacy, not speech. So, here we go. You may have to bear with me tonight as I attempt to express my gratitude to I obtained my pharmacy, doctorate of pharmacy at SWOSU. But the one speech class that they required me to take did not adequately prepare me for this evening. As standing here is more stressful than being up to bat in the bottom of the 7th, with bases loaded, 2 outs, and a full count. I promise you. Seriously though, I would like to thank the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee and SWOSU for honoring me so kindly, bestowing this upon me. I also want to thank God for the talents He gifted me with, the small miracles led me to SWOSU, and the friends and family I acquired all along the way. Once I was nominated to the Hall of Fame, I started to think about what a good player is. I believe a good player is like a house. They have a strong foundation, sturdy structure, and lavish furnishings or accessories. Just like a house is built on a strong foundation, so is the player. For this player, that foundation is family. My family encouraged me, pushed me to be the best, celebrated my victories, and picked me up when I was down. My mom was always my #1 cheerleader, seeing me through rose-colored glasses. She cheered the loudest and the proudest. My dad was the opposite, also always knew how to hold me accountable, yet supported me to the next level. Ooh, lost my spot. However, my best motivator was being the youngest of 3 girls. As I took to heart the song, anything you can do, I can do better. Though they beat me to making All-State and All-American, I get the bragging rights for being the first to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. During my playing years, I was blessed to have several extended family members, and many of whom that are here this evening, who supported me, encouraged me, and traveled the countryside to watch me play. Thank you for your unwavering support and love. The next step in building a house is the structures, walls, also known as the coaches. From t-ball to college, the coach gives structure and guidance to the player, shaping them from the ground up, teaching the fundamentals of games that results in solid players. Also, I have had several coaches over the years, Coach Lloyd pushed me to play at the next level, from diving lessons that I still regret to this day, to off-season workouts. She helped develop me into an all-conference player. I also come to realize the coach has one of the most challenging jobs, from pushing players to live up to their potential to making sure players are there in the right spot at the right time. Softball comes down to a game of timely hits, great hits, and missed opportunities. Having players in the right position at the right time can change the outcome of a game. Thank you, Coach Lloyd, for seeing the potential in me, trusting me to be in the right place at the right time. To finish the house is the furnishings and accessories, which would be the teammates. I learned from some furnishings are an eyesore but get the job done, while some other ones are just there to look pretty. Yet others are essential to the house, each being critical to making the house a home. I would not have been the player I was without my teammates. The stats don't show the teamwork it takes to make a house a home. From one willing to take a hit for the team, to give a leave-off runner, to one willing to sacrifice for the hits to move the runner, to the ones with the big bats scoring the runs. The game of softball comes down to trust. Trust when on defense to make the hard plays, trust to get the job done at the plate, and trust to pick up others when the game doesn't go as planned. To my fellow teammates, thank you for your memories, support, and love. Remember what happened at SWOSU stays at SWOSU. For some, playing a sport is all fun and games. However, for me, softball taught me the importance of hard work, resilience, respect, and accountability, which I have applied to everyday life, from studying for my doctorate in pharmacy to motherhood, to learning to adapt to loss, to learning how to live in the moment. I would not be the person I am today without the lessons I learned playing softball. When I look back on my time at SWOSU, I'm flooded with memories of hard work, growth, and friendship. From the very first practice to the last game, I learned so much, not just about the game of softball, but about myself. I'll never forget the time we shared on and off the field, especially when certain players tried to flood the field in hopes of avoiding practices, our bags getting locked on the bus when we were on the road, the bus breaking down in Arkansas, playing the phone game on the bus after Coach told us to be quiet, and making it to conference playoffs. These memories will forever hold a special place in my heart. In closing, I would like to acknowledge SWOSU and the softball program, the faith and trust Coach Lloyd had in me and the team I had that turned a house into a home for 4 years, providing me with the best opportunity to succeed both on and off the field. Many of my teammates will stay in my heart forever. From ready to trust us, to pump up, I am forever grateful for my time with them and their continued support and love. Weezer out.
We're safe now. Coach Lloyd, I'm going to put this back up. Okay, our last inductee of the evening is Shane Martin. Shane Martin is a Weatherford native who pitched for SWOSU baseball team from 2010 to 2013. He capped his collegiate career off with a 9th round selection in the 2013 Major League Baseball draft, the first Division II player taken that year. Martin was a unanimous 2013 first team All-GAC selection and earned all-region honors from the American Baseball Coaches Association, National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association, and Daktronics that same season. He continues to hold multiple career records in the SWOSU's Division II era, including appearances, innings pitched, wins, and strikeouts. His 11 victories during his senior season represent the most single-season victories in SWOSU's D2 history. Martin also earned all GAC honors in 2012 as a junior and was a 3-time GAC Pitcher of the Week during his career. After his collegiate career, he played professionally for 2 seasons before pursuing his education. Martin went on to earn a bachelor's degree in the science of nursing from SWOSU in 2016 and a master's degree in the science of nurse anesthesia from Arkansas State in 2022. He currently owns and operates Shane Anesthesia, providing services nationwide, and resides in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Here to introduce Shane is former SWOSU baseball coach, Zach Saunders.
I was kind of hoping for a smaller room. Sorry, Shane. Take the nerves off a little bit, but still weird to hear the former part. For all of you that know who I am, just being out of it just as short as I am, still odd to hear, but man, I've been looking forward to this day for multiple years. Knowing it's coming, knowing the person that I wanted in my era, in my time, to make sure and be the first one. Proud doesn't begin to explain what I am today. Not as a father, obviously Todd being here, but as a brother, I think taking a chance on staying for a kid that took over in an interim basis, which I'll get to in a minute, and then turn it into who you are, man. I'm super pumped to do this. He was a part of my first group. I was the assistant here starting in 2005, and then some way, somehow, we conned Coach Thurman into giving me a job on an interim basis. I just turned 30 at the time, no head coaching experience, had zero clue what I was doing. I knew we had a really good team. The last group that was there when I was still an assistant was very, very good and very talented. Then it was my job to kind of hold the group together. And I remember in the interview process, Coach Thurman pretty much said, without saying it out loud, pretty much, hey, don't screw this up. So that's kind of where I left the office, completely terrified, but I knew we had a couple things in place, Shane being one of those things. So really honestly, for a 30-year-old, and sorry if you're under 30 and I'm calling you a kid, you are. You are at this point, sorry about it. I was too at that point, had no idea what was going on, didn't know how to make a PO or travel arrangement or anything like that. And it's guys like Shane, there was a whole group of them, but especially Shane that are a reason I'm still here at this point. I probably would have got let go on an interim deal. Hey, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to go find somebody with some real experience. But that team was really good, and there were a few after it too as well. So Shane's a SWOSU dream. He's a Weatherford native, born and raised, right here, just down the road. I mean, he's an Eagle, then a Bulldog, didn't go anywhere else. I've got a good story on Shane and how he ended up at Southwestern. We have an open tryout every year, and we knew about Shane. Shane had a good senior season, but for some reason Shane hadn't chosen a school yet, and so we had an open tryout. And as you can imagine, there are some people that think they're very talented that show up to these open tryouts that are not. They're terrible. So needless to say, it was a long afternoon. Pitchers threw last, and so I'm cross-eyed by the end of this thing and watching some really, really good players. And then Shane strolls down to the bullpen, and I'm an assistant at this point. And there's this tall drink of water that is probably 160 pounds at the time, and I don't know if he's strong enough to get underneath a bar, and all of a sudden the first pitch comes out, and it's hard, it's firm, but he don't know where that sucker's going. We have a huge backstop down, if you go to the ballpark, we have a huge backstop down in the bullpen, and he is zinging this sucker off of every corner of this thing. I mean, top, bottom, catcher hates his life. This poor sucker ain't seen nothing other than about 78, and sure enough, Shane's 88 to 90 that day, and he's just dominating this kid. And so we're having a good laugh about it, but I remember our coach at the time was like, don't let him leave. So I'm making small talk with Shane. I'd known Shane for a while at that point, and we con him into coming to Southwestern. Don't know how, don't know why he chose us. He was a junior college dream, to be perfectly honest. Saw tons of guys like him go be very, very successful at the junior college ranks. And for some reason, he chose us, right? We weren't very good at the time, but we were getting better. And thank goodness Shane chose us, because it worked out really, really, really well for the Bulldogs. I know it did for Shane, but I think more importantly for us too. So Shane's my measuring stick. When I was recruiting, when I was looking for people, when I was out doing it, probably because he was a part of the first group. But when you get to know Shane, which I'll go through some of his attributes, you'll understand why. In a 2025 version of athletics, it's always look at me and make my highlight reel and what I have on Twitter and all these other things. It's like what wristbands I have. I got to make sure and have the right batting gloves on, and I've got to have the $900 bat, and I've got to do all these things, right? And I've got to look the part. He was all fire, no flash. It was all grit. It was all work all the time. There was no flash about it. Probably to the abrasiveness sometime of other teammates, which I'll kind of get to in a minute. He was singularly focused. He wanted to be good. And I think more importantly, he wanted to be great, and was obsessive at times. I say at times. He was obsessive when he walked through the door. I think probably because he's so successful at this point is another reason because of that. He never needed an audience. It seems like that's the trend these days. I mean, he is a throwback if I've ever seen one. He didn't need an audience. To my wife's dismay, we were newly married at this point. Not newly married, 4 or 5 years in. We were newly parents at this point. Isaiah was, I don't even know that he was a year at this point. And I go up to the field at 10 o'clock. Wives, you can imagine what kind of look you give your husband at leaving at 10 o'clock to go check sprinklers. But that's what we were doing. And all of a sudden I hear in the barn something's going on, and balls are getting thrown, and I don't know who's there, and there's one car, and so I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I walk in, and we'd had a bullpen that day. 45, 50 pitches, which is kind of a heavy bullpen. He probably needs to rest at that point. And I walk in, and Shane's got a bucket of balls, and he is full lathered up, full sweat, and it's just pouring them in there. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we just do a bullpen today. Like, clean it up. Like, what are we doing? And he just, I got to get better. Like, I'm not very good. I got to get better. Like, these are my goals. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Whether I throw my arm out and do it or I accomplish the goals, this is what I'm doing. And it wasn't like, hey, coach, is this okay? It was like, hey, coach, go get in your truck and drive home. This is what I'm doing. So that was Shane in a nutshell. He was always asking questions, probably enough to be a butthead sometimes. I say sometimes, a lot of times early. So he was always asking questions, right? Always. Want to know the answer. Parents, if you got those kids, let them, right? Let them ask the questions. Let them ask all of them over and over and over again until you're annoyed by it, until you want to just absolutely physically harm them, right? And there were plenty of days for that, right, where we would butt heads and I would be trying to explain something. He'd be like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing this? Like, is that helping me get better? Like, why? I want to know why. Because if it's not helping me get better, like, it's got no purpose, right? That's the one thing that, as a new coach, I'm like, what do I do with this, right? I've got this thoroughbred that, like, I'm trying to rein in, and all of a sudden he's just kind of like, whatever, you can get on board or don't, like, or get out of my way because I'm going to go get it done. He was self-made. From an open tryout to just having all the struggles the first 2 years. And honestly, if you look at his numbers through his junior year, like, they were good numbers, but his record didn't show it. I think every time he would take the mound, he would get about 1 or 2 run support and just be frustrated. And so if you look through the year, he was frustrated. I remember one time, and I'll get to the loyalty part, he had an opportunity to leave multiple times. Played summer ball every summer. had very, very successful summer seasons, and a lot of very, very good coaches and programs wanted him. In an age where loyalty is dead and people are trying to get people to buy into the old school, this is where your home is, man, he chose us, right? He chose Southwestern, like many times over. And I think that's the part that I think, for me, hits home more than anything. The measure that I use a lot of times for our players, our guest coach heads players now, do I want my kids to be around them? And boy, I've had some really good players that I don't want my kids around them. Baseball players in the room, we're a bunch of dirtbags, right? Some of you are degenerates, and so it just is what it is. The stereotype fits, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes. But with Shane, it doesn't. He was always very, very driven. Not that he wasn't a college kid and probably painted the town red a couple times. Mom, Dad, I'm kidding. Todd, you don't know what I'm talking about, okay? Whatever, you're out of the house, it don't matter. He was a tireless embracer of hard. And I think for all of you in the room, you realize, like, it's supposed to be hard, like all of it. Our jobs, what we want to do, what we want our kids to do, it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be really hard to ascend in our profession, whatever it may be. Man, he tirelessly embraced it. Boy, he was convicted, let me tell you. If he had a thought and he thought he was correct, you weren't pulling him off of it, right? Ever. Ever. Still to this day. Lexi, am I right? Like, yeah. But I think we need more of it, right? I'm not going to, I could tell a ton of funny stories and do that stuff, but I think more than anything, I want to shine a light on who he is as a human being. He's still convicted. He's a grinder, right? If you've been to the island, as I call it, north on Caddo, out to the ballpark, it's not always the sexiest thing. Boy, you got everything you need to be great, though. And I watched a guy do it, and so that was my mantra all the time for our other players. It was like, don't complain. I watched a guy, Weatherford native, walk out here and turn himself into a 9th rounder. So you can talk about, I need this or turf or whatever you need and blah, blah, blah. Those things are great. Trust me. Hey, Garrett, we'll take them, right? Whatever you want to give. But you don't need them. You don't need him to be who he became. You need a work ethic. You need somebody to open a barn, not tell our ADs when we're up there and when we're not. Not worry about waivers or any of that other stuff. Sorry, Dr. Lovell. You need some grit, right? You need some drive. You need somebody to just wake up and want to go chase a dream. And people talk about chasing dreams all the time, like, man, this is my dream to play here and blah, 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 and do all these things. And then there's the people that show up at 10 o'clock at night and they throw bullpens for probably the second or third time that night and just decide, hey, I'm going to be great. I don't care who believes in me and who don't. This is what I'm going to do. He's loyal. Not only has he been at Southwestern once as a ball player and a dirtbag, right? But he comes back and is a part of the nursing program, right? And graduates from there and has pretty much catapulted himself into where he is at this point. So I think he could have picked anywhere to go to nursing school. But where does he come back to? He comes back here, right? For an unbelievable nursing program that we do have. Decided that he wanted to do it here and still be a Bulldog. He was loyal to me when he didn't have to be, right? When he could have left and played for a guy that's still coaching and winning a ton of games and is in the national prominence all the time, he decided to take a chance on a kid. So super loyal. So he's a guy that I want my kids to be like. And I think for me, there's no better measure of a human being, I think, than that. He consistently shows who he is, I think, not only then, but I think even to this point. I see a lot of ball players that come and go, and they're hard workers, and there's all these things, and then they leave, and they kind of, I wouldn't say get lost in life, but life is tough. And he's the same old guy. He looks the same. Doesn't look like he's aged at all. He probably still throws at this point. Drives me crazy. He still looks like he's 25 at this point. So but I've gotten to watch him as a husband now and be there for his wedding. I've gotten to watch him as a father. I've gotten to watch him as a believer in his faith. And more importantly, I've gotten to watch him as a friend. Man, you don't get to say that very often as a coach. And I think for all the coaches in the room, if you've ever coached anything, we all like to give ourselves a lot of credit, right? Me included. But I think Coach Lloyd will probably echo this. We're good coaches because we have really good players, right? Like, it's fun when you get really good players and you just get to go sit down. People used to ask me all the time, what'd you tell Shane? Like, what was the secret with Shane? I was like, what do you mean? Like what we said before? Yeah, what'd you say before game? What was game plan? I was like, I just throw in the ball and be like, I'll go see you in the 7th. Like, literally, I would go sit in the dugout and we would play ridiculous games and wait till Shane was done. And when he was done, we'd take the ball and go hand it to somebody else, and hopefully they didn't screw it up and got him a win. So that was a lot of it. There's a lot of Hall of Famers, I think, to come in baseball. That's probably an arrogant thing to say, but that's being honest. There's a lot of really good players. There was somebody that needed to be the foundation of when I was here. I can't think of a better person to be that foundation. I wanted to make sure, more importantly, that it was him. Boy, and being out a year, people ask me all the time, man, you don't miss it? You know, you don't miss baseball? You don't miss being at the field? And then I drive by and it's 38 degrees and it's blowing like it is today. And I chuckle to myself as Coach Head's getting ready to run out to third base. I'm like, nah, I don't miss that. I don't miss that at all. I do miss the people, right? And I miss getting to see people like Shane Martin. People that have changed not only me as a coach and let people play and not overcoach them, but also more importantly as a human being. I don't know that I would be as driven if it wasn't for Shane Martin. So, ladies and gentlemen, Shane Martin.
All that talk about grit, y'all might see me get emotional here. It's exciting to be home today. It's 100 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour south wind. And to quote Ernie Banks, it's a great day for baseball. Let's play two. First, I want to thank God for the journey. I'm humbled to be here today. Tremendous thanks to the SWOSU Athletic Association and everybody involved for this honor. To the voters, thank you. Some of you I know, and to those whom I don't, please come find me after this, and I'd love to give you a proper thank you and shake your hand. Filled with gratitude to be here today and receive this distinguished place in the Hall of Fame. I'm humbled. Weatherford is my home. My family moved here from Tulsa in 1994. So I've lived here most of that time until about 2016. And at that point, I left with a nursing degree, which I got here at SWOSU. I left to go chase another dream that was beyond baseball, which was to do nurse anesthesia. So I worked at major hospitals, taking care of the sickest people I could possibly find, just for a chance to sit for an interview in anesthesia school. Being in this room today is really fun for me. It's in very close proximity to where the old SWOSU baseball field was. And I've been intermingled with SWOSU since I was probably 8 years old, and they had baseball camps for the kids where they give you a slip and slide and a Coke. It was where the Wellness Center is. But that old field is very near and dear to my heart. Quite the speech, Sandy. I appreciate it. You stole some of my material. But I did not start my first year in Little League. So I had a lot of struggles early on. And that old barn and SWOSU facilities ended up changing that. It's where I logged extra hours I put in to separate myself from average as an adolescent. The barn really wasn't that much. It was just dirt floors, some nets that had been pieced together, a 5-disc changer. It was ragged, but perfect. It was like something out of the original Rocky movie. Coach Teasley, also a Hall of Famer, he was the head coach of the university at that time. And he gifted my family a key to that barn when I was 8 or 9 years old. It was one of the greatest blessings I could have had as a young man and a ball player. I honestly believe that gesture changed the course of my life. Like I said, I was one of those kids at camps. So here on campus, I logged a ton of hours just learning how to play baseball at a competitive level before I was even enrolled. It's where I learned to go from bench warmer to starting. A ton of life lessons and growth happened here. I was fortunate when my dad began traveling for work to have mentorship and lessons from the SWOSU baseball players and coaches from childhood to high school. This college has been instrumental in my success as an athlete, so thanks to SWOSU for the opportunity, the facilities, the education, the life lessons, and this esteemed group that I'll forever be a part of. I've had a tremendous amount of support for this honor today. I just want to take this time to thank some special people. Dad, my first memories of baseball are with you. I remember sitting in your lap, dry firing a Sig Sauer at baseball players on TV. I know we were trained in gun safety at age 4, but I remember the game as well. Hindsight's 20/20, and the next big gift you gave me for my baseball career was the acquisition of Labrador Retrievers, who had to play ball all the time. So a lot of my childhood was spent with a tennis ball, throwing it against the wall, picking out a brick, picking out a fence post for hours and hours and hours. As a kid, you built a mound in the backyard when I was in grade school. We lost a window or two, but I was on the road to improving. You inspired me with all the competitive shooting trophies around the house and that state championship rodeo belt buckle you got on today. As I grew up, things got more serious with baseball. We would talk all the time. We'd always chat before a game, and we always debriefed afterwards. You're my go-to for baseball and life advice. Although you weren't at every game, you were privy to the ups and downs, the ins and outs. You were the first phone call I made whenever I was selected in the draft. And I'll never forget that moment we shared on the phone. You didn't make them all, but you made some of the big ones, and you're at the last ones in the mountains in West Virginia. You're my hero. Mom, you're the heartbeat of the house. Like Sandy said, you dealt with so many sweaty, dirtbag ball players for about 2 decades of your life. And I know you wouldn't have it any other way. You're a true baseball mom. The biggest thanks to you. So many pairs of pants you washed, cooked meals for me and my friends growing up. You always took care of things so we could just be kids. Some of the most fun, as well as the most trouble I got in, were sleepovers at the ball games and the tournaments. Believe it or not, she held a high standard for performance as well. I specifically remember a tournament in El Reno when I was 10 years old. I struck out 3 times looking and can still remember your exact thoughts about that. And a quiet car ride home afterwards. As I grew older in my baseball journey, you would host us. Getting to college was eye-opening for, a kid from a cultural standpoint that was from Western Oklahoma. There were teammates from all over the world, different walks of life. Without a doubt, some of my fondest memories of college ball are hanging out with the boys, having them over. I was the only hometown hero on the team, and about once a week, we would have some guys from the team over and we'd give them a home-cooked meal. We had fellas from all over the world just come sit at our table. Aruba, Curacao, Puerto Rico, Australia, the Czech Republic, the Dominican, Mexico, Canada, and I want to say 30 states came and just sat at our place in Weatherford, Oklahoma. You didn't miss a game from Little League to high school. You flew to watch me in Pennsylvania, New York, and watch me chase a dream I set in 3rd grade. I wouldn't be here today without you. Thank you for how much you gave, all the love and support. And to the both of you as parents, I'm damn proud to be raised by people from McCurtain County. If you catch that reference, you know. Son of a lawman and a pipeliner, a school teacher and a vet tech. I love y'all. Sandy, my guy. To say I wouldn't be here without you is an understatement. You knew more than I could speak. You know more than I could possibly say here today. You gave a kid with a good fastball, a nasty attitude when he was playing, and some really off-the-wall, counterculture ideas about pitching enough breathing room to figure it out. It absolutely tickled me at my wedding this past December when you told me I wasn't crazy, I was just ahead of my time. And some of the ideas I had proposed were now commonplace in the ethos of pitching. I know it took a couple years, but you're instrumental in my success. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. You helped me from the psychological pit and the psychological quicksand that this game is notorious for. The gifts you gave me went well beyond SWOSU. One of the blessings you gave me in school was the gift of summer college wood bat baseball. I played 3 summers with the Hutchinson Monarchs in Hutchinson, Kansas. And this is just extra competitive innings. So I logged a lot of extra time. This league was where I learned I was among the best in the amateur ranks. Since 1934, the NBC World Series has been hosted in Wichita, Kansas. And these are the best college kids from around the country. It gave me exposure to professional scouts, the people who decide if you go to the next level or not, and I've thrived in those situations. It fueled my confidence and made me a much stronger competitor, pitcher, teammate, and person. I did it year-round, all the time. Baseball became an obsession, just a pursuit of art and science of pitching, almost no days off. It consumed me. You listen and feel my passion for success. That year-round pursuit made the bridge from becoming a professional, which is, it's all you do. It's 12-hour days. It's games every day. There's no holidays. You get a day off for a 14-hour bus ride and to play the next 8 days in a row. And I have you to thank for that. I have you to thank for being a good leader, being relatable, giving me space to grow, and man, really for that split changeup you showed me my junior year. It took me to the next level, skyrocketed my success. I love you, man. Fred's he's a great guy, big baseball guy, even though he's a Northwestern Ranger. He's swimming with the Sharks tonight, man. Here's some kind of baseball therapist for me in college. I'd swing by your office once a month and just talk ball, just chop it up with no agenda. We talked big leagues. We talked about the small farm towns, baseball players, every level in between. We just shared stories, our love for the game. I cherish those chats. I do have a very fond memory from you when I was in high school. It was Christmas Day, and I went to the baseball barn to work out, thinking I was big time taking BP on Christmas Day. And I show up, and Fred and his family's there. And he just said, yeah, we're here every Christmas. There's no days off. It just really tickled me, and I realized that there's no mistaking how successful you and your children were with the game. The meat and potatoes of our relationship was when I was in college, and you were always around whenever I was coming up through the town, the pipeline, doing the booster club, behind-the-scenes stuff to give us a platform for success. I was honored to have you sit in place of my dad at a table with Sandy, my mom, and the Phillies brass whenever I got drafted. Thank you very much. I love you, man. But to this day, I cannot see, think, or hear of the Amish community without associating it with you and a case of beer. He probably has a follow-up story for y'all on that. He tells it better than I do. J.R. Head, where you at? There you are, man. Man, I want to thank you for being the best teammate I ever had. Your grit, hard-nosed style, nasty attitude as a competitor. I loved you as a teammate and hated you as an opponent in Legion Ball. I knew no doubt you were willing to fight or cut a catcher in half for a play at the plate. You're the best teammate I ever had. It was a pleasure sharing the diamond, the pool, and the weight room with you. Kevin Cantrell, who wasn't here tonight, was also a 4-year guy like me. He was unanimous first team all-conference, shortstop. Just call him the vacuum cleaner. We spent so much time together. We grew up a lot as ball players and men together. And there's some people, the town has a fantastic baseball culture and community. I'm sure some of you people here know him. Gary Blakely, who was our 5th grade coach, who was a Vietnam combat vet who we got in 5th grade when things got serious and we got black jerseys for the summer in Weatherford. He taught us a lot about discipline and that trying hard didn't cut it. Trip Perkins and Kyle Johnson for focusing on skills and strategy when we were in middle school. One of my favorites, and also SWOSU Hall of Famer Charles Teasley. I want to thank him for his scathing and brutally honest assessments of how we played. There's many quotes about Coach Teasley I cannot share with the public, but one that I can share with you, he'd have some legendary just one-liner. And then he'd say, sometimes you just got to tell them the truth. And he did not mince words. He's one of my favorites. I thank him for always telling us the truth. I love this game, the diamond, the bump. I love pitching. It's a blend of skill and poker. chess and brawn. It's a hard game too. A game predicated on failure attracts determined or really stupid people, and a lot of time it's really hard to tell the difference. At the expense of coming off disrespectful, I'll let it be known that growing up here, I did not particularly want to stay here for college. I'll circle back. Like most young people, I wanted to go off and play somewhere else. In my senior year of high school, I had a bunch of workouts lined up for junior colleges like Sandy was talking about, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. But a cast on my right leg, an appendectomy, inaccurate assessment of my skills, and a cancer scare ensured that none of those workouts came to fruition. The phone stopped ringing with any other colleges. I was soon wondering if I'd even have the opportunity to play at the collegiate level at all. A bum ankle and 6 weeks to recover with holes in my stomach seemed like a rough start to his senior year in pursuit of a state championship and a college scholarship with guys I'd played with since Little League. And I have Coach Scott Selby and Coach Sandy to thank for coming to watch me play my senior year despite my reputation and what they'd heard about me. And I showed up to that open tryout, SWOSU, which was the day after graduation night. May have been when I was a little wild. Showed up, I threw a bullpen. I could tell something was going on because I got separated from everybody else, and I was offered a scholarship that would cover the cost of tuition on the spot, so I took it. Selby told me that day I'd get drafted and play professionally. I couldn't see it, but they could, and that was my dream. That's what I read on that piece of paper in 3rd grade when your teacher asks you, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? That dream came true 4 years later, and the day I was selected by the Philadelphia Phillies in the draft, I held a clipboard and worked at the SWOSU Open tryout after my senior year. How poetic. Praise be to God. I have SWOSU and the Great American Conference to thank for my love of the state of Arkansas, where I went to graduate school, where I currently reside, where I met my wife, and we are planning to raise, hopefully, a little ball player here in February. The game gave a young man purpose, discipline, determination, and understanding that you're going to fail a lot, and that's just a part of life. It kept me out of a ton of trouble. Having something to keep me accountable as a teenager and young man in my 20s, I avoided a lot of it. I'm eternally thankful to the game. The game allowed me to see the U.S. from the Great Plains to palm trees in Florida, the Jersey pine and the Appalachian Mountains, and everywhere in between. The game gave me so much more than I gave it. I have a great deal of pride seeing guys that I used to play cards with or have breakfast with, seeing them play on TV. One of the cool moments I had as a SWOSU athlete when I was a professional athlete was I had a short season and then off season and then spring training. So my only spring training, sitting in the clubhouse, and there was the minor league side and there's the big league side. And the equipment guy comes up to me and he says, "Hey Shane, what size pants you wear?" I was like, "Joe, I got pants." And he's like, "Yeah, but you don't have show pants." "Man, I'm going to the show today." He said, "Man, you're going to the show. No one told you?" I was like, "No, I didn't know." So I give him my pant sizes, go to the big league clubhouse, work out with the big league guys, and just again being a fan of the game. Man, there's Jimmy Rollins. He's kind of short. There's guys I watched playing on TV growing up, Hall of Famers, all kinds of stuff there. So I walk in the clubhouse. It's just etiquette to go shake people's hands, talk to them. So I see the whole coaching staff there, and first guy to go meet is Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Famer for the Cubs. Everybody's on a nickname basis. I said, "Hey Sandy, I'm Shane Martin from the minor leagues, just here to help out today in case y'all get in trouble." Go down the line. And also a SWOSU Hall of Famer, Ray Burris, is a pitching coach in the Philadelphia Phillies organization. And I shake his hand and he points to me and he says, "You're the Bulldog. You're hanging out with me today." "Yes, sir." So I got to spend a day in spring training hanging out with the big league club and talking about Weatherford, Oklahoma with one of the coaches. It's a really small world. I'm just filled with gratitude to be here today. I'm filled with love. I'm filled with love for the town, for being part of the Great Plains, and being part of Weatherford, and being part of SWOSU. Appreciate your time. Thank you all. God bless. Go Dogs.
Now, I went in the Hall of Fame one day, Shane, but I don't need your award. Let's give you that back. Thanks, sir. Because I'll knock that over real fast. How about one more round of applause for tonight's honorees? I love this night. It makes me so proud to be a Bulldog. I can say, we're all Bulldogs together. It's like I'm hanging out with the cool kids. It's great. Little bit of housekeeping. When we're done, we're going to move this podium. Honorees, bring your placard thing, and you're going to line up here, okay, together. We're going to do a group one. AD, thanks. President, thanks. We do want to, there's a couple introductions I want to make before I call it a night. He's already been referenced by Meghan, I think positively. I wasn't really listening to your speech. But Hall of Famer, SWOSU Distinguished Alumnus, Mayor Mike Brown is here with Debbie Brown tonight. And I wanted to recognize you both for being here. And some of us remember a man named John Hayes, who was our president, and a very, very valued member of the SWOSU family who is here with us tonight, Miss Linda Hayes. Linda, it's always great to see you. And tonight's fun, tomorrow night's fun at the SWOSU Athletic Auction, for which tickets are still available at SWOSUathleticauction.com, would not be possible without underwriting support from some of SWOSU Athletics' greatest partners. ASAP Energy, Rick Cook and Ray Harris are here tonight. Good to see you both. Thank important people. Heckle Meghan. Close up. Congratulations again. Thanks for being here. Good night.